tell you, my challenge, the biggest challenge is, you know, as you read through more stuff, you seem to want to go another direction, and it just, you know,
Yeah,
sometimes
I actually, it makes it complicated sometimes.
it does. It really, it actually makes it more complicated just by researching. You go, oh, okay. Um, but I'm trying to stay focused on the one topic because I've, you know, kind of done so much work towards that. Um, to just kind of shift gears. But it, you know, I guess it would all be in the same realm. Um, but
Yeah, I just had my initial meeting last Friday,
mhm,
with my committee, so trying to discuss everything and figure out which direction I was going.
yeah,
But you're right. I feel like now that I sat and really thought about it, I'm like, well, maybe I could do this or maybe I should
right,
do that. I'm like,
right.
just have to stick to something.
Yeah, you just have to grab hold of something and just go, yeah, this is where I'm going. And I
Yeah.
think that's what I've done. I've just said, you know, this is what I'm just going to have to find the best approach to work with this on. Um, so you know, I'll just kind of throw some things out there at you.
Yeah.
You're experienced at this as well. That you know, I'm the neophyte. So,
Yeah.
um, but you know, what I did was just kind of saying it, what's been studied, because I'm exploring the gaps of financial literacy for uh, marginalized adult communities. And two things that I'm trying to look at are, you know, the community-based learning that you find in the community, and also institutional, because institutional would be, you know, like they're at the university or some financial institution,
Yeah.
to determine which is most effective. And the studies that I've found, oh, where'd I go? I lost my page here. You know, I've just found several different studies out there that have approached that um, from a standpoint of evaluating the community-based programs and evaluating the institutional programs. And what I found so far is that neither one of them are really working in terms of changing behavior. Okay? They, you know, for the moment, exit surveys revealed that most of them are saying, yeah, you know, I'm going to start saving, start budgeting, and start
Hmm.
doing these things. But months or so down the road, they kind of revert back. So that's where I kind of am headed in terms of tracking that behavioral change and seeing which one of those possibly could be a way to facilitate that behavioral change. And then it goes into, do I want to look at transformative learning, that type of direction, or just hone in on the behavioral aspects of it? Is that
Yeah. That is hard. And the funny part is I've been through like a class like that
uh-huh.
and I knew I needed it, right?
Right, right.
And um and it was a 12-week class, I believe.
Yeah,
12-week, yeah, an hour and a half a week. And the information is so good, but you're right. It came back to my behavior. It's like if I know all the information now, which I thought I initially needed,
yeah,
but then it's like I have to stick to it.
yeah,
And having, yeah, that's tough.
yeah.
Which
It,
direction do you go? I can see that. But then
yeah,
I
it's,
experienced the behavior. It's like, well, if I don't change the behavior, that's my problem, right?
that's your problem,
Right
right?
back to where I was.
Right, yeah, and it's hard to track that in a way, and that, for one, because it may take substantial amount of time in my study,
Yeah.
where I'd have to say this may be a year or so or two
Mhm.
years, and they may not give me that much time. So
Yeah, you're right
uh,
though, because it's one of those that you think would be a short term, but anybody can stick with a short term
short term,
program, but
yeah,
you're trying to make those change in behaviors to make it a long term
right.
result.
And you know, do you look at it from that aspect of, is this more a psychological type study, or is this more of me looking at the study from a standpoint of it being financial education, which is really probably where I want it to be, and more or less under the educational realm, not so much the psychological piece, because
Yeah, but I wonder if it's gonna kind of cross over.
I think it will. That's what I'm looking at. Um, but I
Have you
did,
found a lot of information on the behavioral side of it?
I have found information, a couple of articles that where they've studied behavioral change and transformative learning. Um, and that's been really good. But the study was back in 2010. I'm trying to find something
More recent?
more recent, and I think I can. I'm just going to have to do a little bit more research on it. But that's primarily, and a lot of the um, limitations to some of the studies that I've read, none of them are visiting the behavioral aspect of it, the behavioral change, because I guess it's more of a longitudinal, longer study. But I mean,
Yeah.
to really try to affect the change, I think that that's something that hasn't been studied enough that might bridge that gap for me.
Yeah, and you think because it's time consuming, so maybe
I almost have to
addressing
start
it in the
now.
short term, yeah, addressing it in the short term, and then the resolution at the end would be, well, further studies need to
For
be
these studies
done
to
for
be
a
done,
longer period of time. Yeah.
right? To show the total impact. But that's the piece that hasn't been studied as much, which I'm finding, and a lot of the reports or literature is saying, yeah, we understand that the problem's there, but
Mhm.
we haven't ventured into it at all. So I think I think it can be done. It just may be a little longer, but I think it will be impactful. Hopefully, if I can do it in that realm for sure.
Yeah, that sounds
Um,
interesting. I'm excited to read it
yeah,
and see what you find.
and what I found was really, which almost made me shift gears, was the female or women literacy numbers were showing that they were less literate in terms of finances
Mhm.
than their male counterparts. And so I almost said, well, maybe I'll take it from that
That
aspect
right.
and just say, okay, widows or women, single
Mhm.
family homes or something of that nature, how can I impact the literacy levels for those individuals?
Yeah, because it would be interesting, like, if, you have, like, partners that are together, is one person responsible for all the finances?
And
Or are
see, that's
both
the thing.
people working together? And
Yeah,
if they're not working together, if something happens to the
yeah,
person that was responsible, then you have somebody who doesn't have any idea what was going on.
yeah. Because I did find one survey where they, interviewed, you know, the female population of women who were head of household
Mhm.
and found that their literacy levels were like, very low. Um, and I don't know if that's just a traditional thing or, how that works. I have met a lot of women who they do the finances. So I thought that was kind of surprising. I'm like, okay, because I deal with a lot of state employees. I do the pensions for uh, the judges and state employees here in Virginia,
Yeah.
and most of their wives handle the finances. And so I'm going, okay, this is kind of backwards from what I've experienced. So it's a
Right.
little interesting. So, yeah.
Ooh, I'm interested to see. But I will and I will tell you the 12-week class that I have taken in the past, by about week 6,
Uh-huh.
there were 100 people in the class at the very beginning.
Mm.
Week 6, I'd say maybe half, and
It's-
by the end of the 12 weeks, it was significantly less.
I know. I always joke when I do my presentations at some of these seminars is, you know, one thing, if I can maintain at least 50 to 60% of you guys over time, I've done a
Yeah.
pretty good job. So,
And I finished the program, and I would say I finished it and I learned a lot, but then implementing it is a
another thing.
whole nother piece. Yeah.
Right. And staying consistent with it is
Correct.
that's
Yeah.
the thing. So
Yeah. I would agree with that.
we'll see. But that's what I'm looking at, and that's why my head goes round and round and round.
Well, it sounds like maybe I'm not alone then a little bit because I keep thinking, and maybe I'm changing aspect.
Yeah.
Um, gosh, so I'm doing more supervision for early career professionals in speech language pathology because once somebody graduates with their master's degree, they still will have a year on somebody else's license, even though they're
Mm,
getting paid at their job. So, what type of feedback are they being given from their supervisor to help them be more independent?
right.
There's no standardized way right now that supervisors are I guess being asked to give feedback at this point. And really, supervisors do it out of the kindness of their heart.
Right.
They're not being paid to supervising these individuals. So that's kind of what I'm studying at this point. What
Right.
remains unstudied is it really hasn't been looked at too much in my field.
Mm-hmm.
It's just people are doing the best they can to give people feedback to get these people their license because we need them
Mm-hmm.
in
Right.
our field. And so, really, the literature I'm finding is either via nursing
Mm-hmm.
or medical residents. So, I've kind of now changed some of my research to find articles or research with medical residents because it's very similar
Yeah.
in that aspect. So, really, the gap is there's not really a lot of research out there in my field, which has
Right.
made it a little bit more
Yeah.
challenging. Um, but really, what I'm trying to study is what kind of feedback should be given to
Mm-hmm.
early career professionals to make them more independent. And my idea is once I do the research, I would love to create a rubric as if you're a supervisor, this is the type of feedback that is the
Mm-hmm.
most beneficial
Mm-hmm.
to help these SLPs become more independent and sufficient on their own license in the next year.
Yeah. And that's more or less sounds like it's a great way of kind of the mentorship type program. But like you said, I think you really have to find individuals that are kind of willing to provide that. And that rubric would probably outline those things for them as to what they would need to supply. Are you
Yeah, so I'm
surveying any of the folks that are in the program at this point just to get some feedback from them on
um
what they're missing? You know, as
that
you
that's an idea. I need to make sure it's not a conflict of interest
sure,
since I
sure.
currently supervise students in the on-campus clinic.
Uh-huh.
I really want to be able to interview like dyads, so a mentor and a mentee,
Oh, okay.
and a
Yeah.
couple of them. So I would love to find those dyads out there that are
Right.
maybe currently in that situation. I'm looking more at the situated learning approaches
Mm-hmm.
because it's the real world they're having to understand in the real world context.
Right.
And then looking at, let's see, I'm trying to look at some of my stuff. And then the key strategy within that, I'm looking at the cognitive apprenticeship
Mm-hmm.
because that's a model where learners are guided by experts observing and participating um, in those activities. So if you think about like a medical doctor is overseeing the medical resident and
Right.
there's, the medical resident is still seeing the patient, but somebody's guiding them. It's the same thing in my field where
Right.
um, the SLP who's graduated with their master's has the knowledge but they still have somebody helping
Yeah,
guide
that
them.
hands-on experience.
It is very hands-on. The
Mm-hmm.
only thing is, in the SLP world, they can still be in this early career professional and getting paid, but their mentor doesn't have to be on site with them every single day. So
Oh,
they could be 2 hours away
uh,
and their mentorship is calling them once a week on the phone.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Or
Yeah.
somebody, so it really depends on where that speech language pathology student is. I guess I shouldn't
Yeah.
call them a student anymore. It'd be their CFY. Yeah. So the model there is just, it varies depending on where the person is working.
Yeah. Yeah. That logistically could make it hard to hone down, um, for sure. But
Yeah.
that
So the experience
medical,
is, is it more positive if you have somebody there with you all the time?
hmm,
Or, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
yeah, but that's good because I mean that could have some impact or implementations for how those programs need to be put in place, which is the key to the whole dissertation. Really, is to find that gap and provide some implementations of how it can be utilized, and that's good. I think that would be great. But the
Yeah, it's
medical
hard
field,
because,
mhm,
yeah, the medical field has, um, sorry, do you have feedback there?
well, the medical field is, I think, a good place to go because that's where you find that guidance, that type of hands-on guidance, and that's where I think you'll see. I think the primary individual is usually going to be there with them during that time, and you may find, I guess, sometimes, I guess, in the speech pathology component of that, like you were saying, are they always distant, or is that
It
the
really depends on where they're at. If you're in a hospital setting, you're probably gonna have your mentor there most of the time
most of
with
the time?
you.
Okay.
Um, as if you're in a school position, maybe not. It just
Hmm.
depends. If you're in a skilled nursing facility or a nursing home,
Yeah,
more often than not, you're gonna be in that building alone,
by yourself.
and, um, they're hard to fill positions. And so I think sometimes companies will just hire somebody to get
Mm,
somebody in there, not realizing the amount of support that maybe some early career professionals might need,
right. Yeah,
which makes it challenging.
it does. It does. Yeah. I mean, you
But
can.
if there was a rubric for those companies to say, well, I actually have to have
Hmm.
this amount of feedback and mentorship, maybe that would be helpful.
Yeah, and the supporting documentation that you'll be providing just would support that, which would be good. That would be
Yeah,
excellent. Yeah.
that's the goal
I
anyway.
think that's a great approach. I think that would be awesome. That would be great because that field, of course, is lacking something like that to make it, and that may create more interest for folks to come into that field too if they know that they've got that guidance along the way. So,
That's true. It was hard because during my committee, we talked about, as an SLP, we're responsible for providing therapy for 9 different areas, that
wow.
patients may have deficits in. So then it was like, well, do I then choose the route? Do I just say overall, or do I choose one of those 9 core areas to say, this is the area that needs more feedback? So,
Hmm. Wow.
yeah, it's one of those that's still kind of stirring in my head and still
Yeah.
searching.
Yeah. I mean, but if you narrow your focus, are you leaving some of those folks out that would probably, and it's hard to tell. I guess it's almost evaluating each one of those segments to see which one which one needs to.
Right, it's like, do I just say speech language pathologist as a whole, or do I say,
Right.
well, just in this area?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough
Yeah.
sometimes, but yeah, I think I'm gonna go with that,
Yeah.
cognitive apprenticeship strategy
That's good.
and see if that will help.
I think that would be good because that way, like you said, it just kind of you know narrows down the focus a little bit. It's not as broad because that's what I
Yeah.
was running into. I guess that's why they always say you have to kind of funnel it down. I guess it's like okay, that's kind of what Ramo used to always tell me. Okay, you got everything moving around, and I'm like, yeah, I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
But that's true. But what is it? Is it really kind of a conflict to interview those
I I don't
which
know, there's so many students. The thing is, we have so many in our department. It's like, well, maybe I won't interview the ones that I've had or that I'm
Mm-hmm.
currently supervising.
Right, that
The
you're
thing
currently
is,
supervising would be probably.
right, but then
Yeah.
I may end up interviewing somebody that I'll have in the future.
Nah.
So that's the hard part. Yeah, trying to
Right.
pinpoint where do I go.
Hmm. I wonder if there's a way to go outside of the state where there are.
That or maybe choosing the students that have just graduated or that have graduated within the last year that are out
Yeah,
there working now.
right.
Could I somehow interview
Those individuals and
them?
just talk with
Mhm.
them. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that might work
So
too.
trying to pinpoint that.
Yeah. Yeah, anywhere you can get the data that you need is probably going to be the key to that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, good, good. Sounds great. Well, that sounds like you got the direction down. It's just going to have to narrow on.
Narrow it down and
Yeah,
sit down and really plan it out, I
plan it
think.
out. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds great. Good.
Well, I don't know.
That's
I think
all
we
I.
covered everything.
Yeah, and I do. Thank you so much for your input. Sometimes it's easier to talk this thing out sometimes
Yeah.
and make sure it makes good sense in my brain and everything else. So hopefully, I mean, I just continue to try to find as much information, some of the more recent information is what I'm trying to get to. Everything has been maybe 5 to 10 years ago, and so maybe it's something that they haven't broached
Trying to find a
recently.
recent.
Yeah, and then I
Yeah, I'll be
started.
interested though with your like when you look at it, behavioral versus the psychological aspect, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Versus just the knowing all of the terminology.
yeah,
Um, does somebody's does one impact the other?
yeah,
Or are they kind of hand in hand?
hand in hand. And that's the thing, is it, or do we want to have some form of impact in the behavioral change, or we just want to find the best way to give them the knowledge they need, which is most effective, I guess.
And then try to make the change.
Yes, change. That's a good point. I might have to write that down. I might have
Yeah,
just thought of
because
something.
I'm just coming from, what I've experienced. It's like, yeah, so they gave me all the terminology and I sat through the class. I know what I need to do.
Right.
So I've implemented some of it,
Yeah.
but maybe not all of it. But what's impacting that? Is that more like my background?
Mm.
Is it why haven't I made that change?
And you see, another piece of that too is the audience that I'm trying to attract are those probably low income, prior incarcerated. So I was trying to narrow it down to that are in some of our
Mhm.
marginalized communities that don't have the access to financial programs and stuff like that. So
So once they have the information, then how do you make sure there's support there to
yeah,
follow through?
right. And that means that you would have to have some type of follow-up study
Mhm.
to do that with.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's just kinda where my brain goes a little
Yep.
bit.
Yeah, that's exactly where mine's going. It's going, okay, this is,
Yeah,
but
because I was never in charge of any of that, and now I am,
mhm.
but still, it's like, okay. Yeah, there's still a few things out there I'm like, "Yeah, I probably
Yeah.
need to be doing that."
So, I might need to
Eh,
do that, but
maybe I need to take the class again.
that's right. I'm with you. Well, good. Well, that's what
So,
I have, though, Mary, and I appreciate your listening in for that, and
yeah.
definitely, and I truly wish you luck with yours, and hopefully
Well,
you
thank
get
you.
caught up over break.
Oh, I'm gonna be grading, yeah. I will definitely be grading Monday and Tuesday to get caught back up.
Yeah,
I have
yeah,
probably 4 or 5 assignments between my 3 classes that I need to
yeah.
get done.
Yeah, that's my other class. I was looking at the grading,
And then
and
students are like, "You're up really late."
right, right. I'm like, my gosh, wait. So we'll see. Good.
Yeah. I
All
usually
right.
grade really late at night or really early in the morning.
Yes, and that's when everybody's, it's just myself, my wife, and my granddaughter, but it's everybody's asleep. I'm like, okay, this is a good time.
That's when you have time. Yeah, that's when you have time to get stuff done. Yeah, I
Good time.
agree.
Yep. All right. Well, you
All
have a
right.
great day and
You
great
too.
evening. So thank you
You
so much.
too.
I appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
All
Uh-huh.
right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.